right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, fellow Pandemonium travelers, this is Seattle Pandemonium Shutdown, day 104, I believe. Yesterday was 103, I think. So today would be 104. Oh boy, guys, I gotta tell you, it is a beautiful summer. Summer is here, and it is gorgeous out. But I will be checking out of the city for a few days and going to the safe zone, because all of this craziness, I mean, the chop or whatever you call it continues its whatever. Atlanta now having its own conniption fit over the death of, I don't remember the guy's name even, Ashad. Wrestle with the cops, shoots a taser at the cops, and the cops shoot him, and then they burn the Wendy's down, and yeah. I'm wondering if businesses are thinking about building themselves like they are bunkers, you know, like it's just a concrete box with, you know, gun turrets and everything. Anyways, I listened to a great stream last night, where someone broke it down. It was on the Jack Murphy Live Periscope. So there is a narrative you can build out of all of this stuff, right? And you can tie all these different things together. And what it tells is the story of how basically every one of our institutions has essentially failed us. Now, this is a story decades in the making, really. But it makes me wonder at really how accurate the narrative is. So here's the narrative. Every one of our institutions that we generally rely on, right, to manage the world, and we just start like this, right? So the election of George W. Bush, 9/11 was a failure of our intelligence apparatus, or was it? Our response to it, starting two wars, one of which, I mean, they're still technically going on, but the Iraq War had nothing to do with 9/11, but we somehow did that anyway. Then, you know, Barack Obama is elected to office, and during which time we drone striked all over the world and toppled multiple countries. Syria is a rubble pile, it's still fighting with itself. That triggered a migrant crisis that swamped Europe and caused Brexit. Yeah, Black Lives Matter started under Obama. And again, if you take the arrest of Freddie Gray, for example, there was most of the officers that arrested him were black. Like the police chief was black, mayor was black, the district attorney was black. It's an institutional failing that's not necessarily a racial one. It doesn't matter necessarily what race you are. The mechanism of law enforcement is failing these specific people, but it's generally failing everybody. You know, it failed Duncan Lemp. And again, there's another kind of piece of the narrative. He was white and shot in his house, you know, and they flashbanged his pregnant girlfriend while they were laying in bed. Yeah. So further institutional failure, right? The CDC and the WHO with all this coronavirus stuff. Well, again, it's also an intelligence failing. How did we not have spies and stuff inside China detailing what's going on and giving us intel about what Chinese were doing, what they were doing, to how big it was, how bad it was, what their number of deaths were. And again, the WHO and the CDC, they said that there was no human-to-human transmission, but then they said, oh no, there is, and it's actually really, really bad. So we have to like disconnect the whole world for, it was what, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. It's been 4-5 months now, and we're just coasting on what we had from the start. Like, we were just floating along, okay? And if you think that this is too overarching of a narrative, if you don't like Donald Trump, hell, even if you like Donald Trump, you have to acknowledge that his election to the office of the president is certainly a sign of some kind of dysfunction within the political parties, within our culture. Now, here's another thing, the institutional failure thing, is cultural institutions are failing. Higher education is seemingly pointless and incredibly expensive for no reason, and doesn't really seem to help anyone. That's how it seems, and that's how it's being told to me anyway. That's been my experience, having a degree and having it be meaningless. And for a lot of people, even basic things like, art and entertainment, right? Art and entertainment have been infused with all this woke stuff to the point where people don't wanna watch it. And then we're told if we don't like it that we're the problem, when you also have bad content with woke stuff injected into it. Like, what was that Brie Larson picture with the superpowers? Miss Marvel. I mean, apparently it was a bad movie, right? But we're told because it has a strong, empowered woman in the lead, it therefore is good. Well, I'm sorry, but no, it does not, okay? Alien had a strong female lead, and that movie is excellent. It's just not true, but that's what we're told when these entertainment, conglomerate, Disney, for example, owns everything, and they put out what they put out, and they tell us it's good, and if you think it's not, you're wrong. And they inject the woke stuff into it so that it's like you're a bigot if you don't like it. Okay, so that's, again, cultural, institutional failing, right? They're failing to provide what it was that they previously provided. And one thing that film and entertainment and media in America has done has been to give us some kind of cohesive narrative that we're all kind of aware of anyway. All kind of in on. The only narrative that's working right now in media is basically Black Lives Matter, and even that is a little bit thin. I know how this sounds when I say, statistically, unarmed black men, and in fact unarmed people in general being shot by the police is not, I don't think, an issue worth all of this. Worth all of this insanity, okay? The one narrative that everyone is aware of now is that the police keep shooting black people. Now, the real energy behind Black Lives Matter, I believe, is generally black people feeling like they're treated like crap by law enforcement. So they're not just specifically mad about these specific people. It's that those are the cherry on top of what is also a narrative of decade after decade of police brutality and inequality and et cetera, et cetera. That's where the energy is actually coming from. And in the current climate of the pandemic canceling people's lives and everything, I think everyone's just mad. I think everyone's just mad, and they're tired of being told to stay home. And if we see a big spike in cases, It's going to be on everybody for giving up on the plan. Okay? Now, this is the problem. Did we need the stay-at-home plan in the first place? I swear no one can tell me that. You might think you know, but that's just like your opinion, and I can find a contradictory piece of evidence in minutes. Okay? It's like the mask thing. Like, I still can't quite tell you whether you should wear a mask or not, right? I don't know if it's reasonable for businesses to demand that you wear a mask. I don't know. Is it? Maybe it is. I can't tell you. No one knows. So, yeah. Broad, sweeping, continuous institutional failure, and one of the issues is, was it always like this? We just didn't see it all because we didn't instantly share videos of police shootings to the entire world and then spread them around and then watch them over and over again, like these snuff films, and send each other riot porn pictures and videos. I mean, riots didn't used to spread this way because we didn't have as much communication, but that doesn't explain Donald Trump. It doesn't explain why CNN is a dumpster fire. It doesn't explain why the New York Times is a dumpster fire. It doesn't explain this weirdness, right? So, yeah. I don't know, man. If the institutions are buckling and failing, well, then we need to, know about that. We need to anticipate further incompetence on the part of these institutions that you thought of as permanent, I guess. You think of police as permanent. You think of fire departments as permanent fixtures. The United States government itself, a permanent fixture. And generally, and this is true in businesses too, I've noticed this and I've learned this lesson so many times. When you think people run a business or they work in a hospital, something important, that they know what they're doing and they have everything under control. And then when you get inside and you see how the sausage is made, you realize no one has any idea what's going on and it all barely hangs together by a thread all the time. So that, but not just in a business where you think people are competent, but in the whole world, the whole thing, the military, police, medicine, universities, everything is a hair's breadth away from complete collapse all the time. And I think these riots kind of demonstrate that. So, there's some reflection from Kyle. We'll see if I can give you an update over the next couple of days. But I will not be driving to work. All right, talk to you later. Bye.